we're back on Cowboy Logic, and we go from one PO'd guy probably
still
to
pissed off. Still pissed off
to another PO'd guy, and that would be one Don Brown. But man, we want him in the Senate in North Carolina. There he is. Great
What's
to
up,
see you
brother?
again.
Hey, listen, before we get started, Don, I want to make it once again, because you're the man of multiple endorsements. Cowboy Logic endorses this man for North Carolina. You got to fix the problems in North Carolina, and that guy right there is the first step to making it happen. We have known this man for many years, and Cowboy Logic endorses Don Brown. Don.
Brown, hold on. That's at Don Brown, FORNC. Running for Senate in North Carolina. Let me introduce you, if people don't know by now. You're running against Michael Whatley, and we'll get to that because former RNC chair.
I don't know her.
Don has done nothing but curse this entire show, so it's going to be full of bleeps. Former Navy JAG officer, as you see there, served in the Pentagon, former special assistant U.S. attorney, best-selling author, of course, and a constitutional lawyer. You helped get Clint Lorance a pardon, and you worked with a bunch of J6 patriots as well. You are a patriotic lawyer, and you are, in my opinion, MAGA all the way. And that's just, you've been endorsed. Now, okay, let's talk about endorsements. You've got a new endorsement from Alan West. How cool is that? And re-endorsed by General Flynn, as well as us here at Cowboy Logic.
Correct. That's correct. Thank you. First off, Don and Donna, love you both. Thank you for the kind words of encouragement. Thank you for the endorsement. It means more than you know. We've been blessed with some great endorsements. And yes, General Flynn re-endorsed when he first endorsed us. Senator Tillis was still in the race. Tillis dropped out. Whatley wound up jumping in after Laura Trump turned it down. And General Flynn on Veterans Day actually reissued a video reaffirming his endorsement. We appreciate that. And then Lieutenant Colonel Alan West came in a couple of weeks later with a very strong endorsement. Of course, Sidney Powell sent us a nice video clip, which we're going to have up today. We had a nice event in Union County, where I am. By the way, I'm at the Sweet Union Republican Women's Christmas Party, which is why I'm outside, because we're in a barn and there's not a place to shoot inside the barn. So I'm shooting you from the top of my Ford Explorer. But
nice.
We've been blessed to have great endorsements, more than I deserve. And but listen, yes, it has been my honor to battle for patriots, because when I battle for patriots, we're really defending our Constitution. We're defending our way of life. We're defending the Western civilization that became our constitutional republic. And we might not have a lot of time. So I know that we're all here together. We are in a Senate race. We're going to win the race. We're going to take Whatley out. We're going to take Roy Cooper out. But this is not my campaign. It's our campaign. We are a team. And there's no I in team, but there is an I in patriots. And that's who we are. So thank you for having me.
Amen, brother. We stand by you, bro. We stand by you. You would be the greatest thing that could come out of North Carolina.
Absolutely.
Period, full stop. Before we get into more campaign stuff, I gotta pass this turd, man. I gotta talk about it. I don't buy anything that was said in that FBI DOJ press conference that took place now a week and a half ago about the pipe bomber. You've covered J6 a lot. You understand it. You understand color revolution. You understand corruption. What was your take on the DOJ and the FBI press conference about the whitest black man ever known to man as the pipe bomber?
Well, it's very clear, unfortunately, even with the change of administration, we still got a problem with the deep state. The FBI, DOJ have had zero credibility when it comes to J6. President Trump issued a blanket pardon, including one of my clients, Elliot Bechet, who was the youngest J6er. But the fact of the matter is that the deep state doesn't want the truth to come out about this pipe bomb. So they're changing who the suspects are. Keep one in jail, and now they've got a different description. Well, how are you going to defend that? The last thing that the deep state wants is for the entire operation to be revealed. We've learned more and more as time has gone on, and some of us, like three of us, our gut instincts were correct that this thing was planned from the very beginning. Now we know about dozens and dozens of FBI agents in the crowd. We know that 98% of all J6ers were prosecuted, whereas 95% of George Floyd defendants were dismissed. I covered this in Chapter 35 of my book, Kangaroo Court. That is a violation of Equal Protection Clause. This continues to be a charade. I want to know, which deep state agency is who's putting pressure on who to keep the charade alive. There have been a lot of things that just haven't been credible here, coming from the DOJ and the FBI. I'm not buying what they said about the attempt on President Trump's life in Pennsylvania. We still haven't seen communications from that young man. We don't know who he was talking to, and we are very, very short on prosecutions. I'm extremely disappointed. They indicted Pam Bondi, indicted Jim Comey and Letitia James, only to have those cases tossed out for technical reasons. Now, it's possible they could be brought back, but we're moving kind of slow, and we're still shoving some of the same BS we've heard in the past from these agencies, and we got to get to the truth here. The people deserve to know exactly what happened, unfiltered, without any shenanigans here.
Don, it seemed real strange to me if the information, and quite honestly, I don't trust the information that's coming out anymore. Yeah. But it sounds like this guy walks into court and pleaded guilty. Is this... Do you do that as a defendant that's being accused of pipe bombs that the FBI has not been investigating for nearly 5 years?
It doesn't add up. He's pleading guilty to something they plucked him off the street from. Sometimes judges don't accept the plea. I'm not sure about this plea. It should not be accepted, in my opinion. There should be more investigation. Something doesn't smell right. It smells kind of like Jack Ruby and Lee Harvey Oswald and the whole thing that went down in 1963, to be honest with you. Just they're getting too close to the real truth, so it smells like they're serving somebody else up as a deflection, as a sleight of hand. That's what it smells like to me. Nothing just making sense about this at all.
And what about the pipe bomb?
Yeah, for 4 years they were inert.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden we're being told that they were active bombs?
Yeah. And you're going to tell me the dogs missed it? No way. No way.
Why would it take it so long? If you have active bombs in D.C., I guess one was supposed to be at RNC and one DNC, whatever. Why is it taking this long to make a confirmation that they were active? Again, the whole approach is suspect. Nothing makes sense about the explanation. And usually where there's smoke, there's fire. This smells like a deep state cover-up to me. I believe that's probably what we're looking at because, again, they don't want the real truth out. They don't want the truth out. I suspect, though I can't absolutely prove, I suspect the whole pipe bombs along with the so-called, noose, hangman's gallows that were out there they tried to blame on Trump supporters was all orchestrated by the deep state in an effort to try to blame and pin it on Trump supporters. And they're afraid about getting too close to the truth, so they're serving up some BS in order to try to keep people off the trail. It's not going to work.
By this time in the Biden administration, there were probably 800, close to it, J6ers arrested. Again, and I talked about this on the morning show numerous times, the face of J6, the literal face of J6, Joshua Black, who got his cheek shot out, was a gardener. I mean, he mowed people's lawns for a living. He didn't like what happened on J6. He drives from his home in Alabama up to D.C. When he's driving back home on January 7th to his house in Alabama, his wife tells him he's on the FBI's 10 most wanted list. So if they want to move, they can move. You got about 30 seconds here. If you want to comment on that.
Look what they did with Jacob Chansley, the so-called face of the insurrection, QAnon shaman. Look what they did with him, the face of the insurrection. And then, of course, video was leaked showing him palling it up with U.S. Capitol Police, them leading him into the Senate chamber, walking around with him like there's a best friend. It's been the essence of propagandistic lies from the beginning. This deep state of the American government, Democrat Party, are disciples of Joseph Goebbels. And, tell a lie enough, the people will believe it. Unfortunately, we've got you guys on the ground and me on the ground. They aren't going to get away with it this time. We're going to get the bottom.
We're going to come back with you for another second. Ladies and gentlemen, make Don Brown go to Washington. All right, welcome back, everybody. You saw that bumper still there. You guys can pick that up on iTunes, Amazon Music, Apple Music, any place, Spotify. Stream it. Any of the money, which will be mice nuts because the record industry fell apart in the 90s. Yeah. But any money that's earned off of that record still there. If you look, still there by Newen, my last name. Any of the money that's earned off of that goes to Stand in the Gap to help J6ers, okay? And Stand in the Gap is definitely helping J6ers.
Okay, Don Brown, again, running for the Senate In North Carolina, former Navy JAG officer and special U.S. attorney, best-selling author. Find his books, by the way, at Don Brown Books, but best to go to Don Brown, FORNC right now. Donate what you can. Try to volunteer, whatever, because this is a big race. And it's, to me, MAGA, which is yourself, Don, against the rhinos. And that is Michael Whatley. Okay, I'm sorry.
Still don't know her.
I'm coming right out and
I
say,
just don't know her.
Well, you stop. It's not Michelle. It's Michael. Okay, Michael Whatley. First of all, Whatley it was a Tom Tillis mole. Quite honestly, he's totally rhino. He pushed for the jab. Okay, which to me right there eliminates him. But okay, he was the RNC chair when Trump won. So Trump obviously is going to gravitate to him because Trump won. But the whole thing is nobody talks about the down ballot. And they can still look at the down ballot, which I think stole at least 10 to 12 House seats and at least 5 Senate seats from President Trump. There's no way people voted for Trump and then voted Democrat on the down ballot. And the RNC is working against Donald Trump. So just address all that, because this is what you're up against.
Your instincts are correct. You know, the American people, neither Democrats nor Republicans, it doesn't work very well to try to ram a candidate down the grassroots throats. I mean, you go back to 2016, the RNC tried this with Jeb Bush. Remember that? The front runner, and laughed at Trump. How did that turn out? You look at what the Democrats tried to do with Kamala. And the same thing is going to be true with the RNC and the North Carolina Republican Party cheating and violating their own rules. They both have violated their rules. They claim they haven't. They come up with some bunk about a joint fundraiser. No, both the RNC rules and the state rules prohibit these parties from getting involved in contested primaries, but are anxious to try to ram Whatley down people's throats. And you look at if Trump endorsed him, he certainly wasn't Trump's first choice. That would have been Laura Trump. And we've heard that 2 or 3 other congressmen were talked to before, Trump got to Whatley. Whatley was not selected to be chief of staff. Whatley was not, with 15 positions open on the cabinet, was not selected for one of the cabinet positions. So, we have sort of a half-hearted endorsement against our endorsements from Lieutenant General Mike Flynn, National Security Advisor, Lieutenant General Jerry Boykin, Delta Force Commander, who's a real badass. I love Jerry Boykin. Yep. Sidney Powell, who I've worked with as a Patriot lawyer, and Lieutenant Colonel Alan West and Cowboy Logic. I would not swap those endorsements. I have to tell you, these endorsements, these patriots mean a lot. But there is going to be a problem. Whatley is not electable. You pointed out some things already. We could not be more different on the jab. He used the Republican Party headquarters to push the jab, say, I'm going to take the jab. You should take the jab. It's not a matter of, talk to your doctor if you want, but it's not a matter of politics, but science. And people have been killed from that. My record has been fighting the jab and the mask from the very beginning, even putting my neck out on the line from the beginning. I'm glad I did. It's not just that. Whatley endorsed Tillis in March before Tillis dropped out. And the thing that was the straw that broke the camel's back that got me in the race, I've worked with Pete Hegseth, as you know. We worked very hard together for a couple of years in the Lawrence case and Extortion 17 and others. And I believe and still believe Pete's going to be our best Secretary of Defense, now Secretary of War in our history. And Tillis promised, hey, listen, if any of the president's nominees come out of committee, I'll support him. Pete came out of the Armed Services Committee. Tillis still tried to torpedo the nomination, and I jumped in the race because of that. That was in February.
Yep.
In March, Whatley goes to a Tillis fundraiser at the Carolina Country Club in Raleigh and endorses him. Whatley was the RNC chair, again, breaking Rule 11. As a national chair, he's not supposed to endorse anyone in a contested primary. But there are 2 peas in a pod, and Whatley is nothing more than Tillis Part 2, if even that, on election integrity. We've battled the 2020 election steal. Even 3 years after that, in 2023, however, even after the fiasco with computer-generated ballot marking devices, Whatley gets himself reelected as the chair of the North Carolina Republican Party with a cell phone app that he had his people design. And we understand there are people outside the arena voting, even people outside of the state voting for the RNC chair position. That cell phone app cannot be audited at all. And so he lost the confidence of a large portion of the Republican Party on the ground right there. He can't defeat Roy Cooper. And we've got to, we're going to continue pushing. Our momentum is growing on the ground. We've had great endorsements. We have thousands of grassroots supporters all over North Carolina. We are ready to go. We're going to take Whatley out, and then we're going to take down Roy Cooper, and I can't wait to take down Governor Lockdown. And I appreciate both of y'all being here behind us. It's going to be
Yeah.
a great
You know,
day.
your book, Call Sign Extortion 17, that you wrote, 10 years
can't
ago?
tell you how many times I've read that
Yeah.
book. I cannot tell you. It's an awesome book. And also, we sent it to J6ers. Unfortunately, we had to use thrift books to buy it, but that's how you get them into prisons. But
But your books are amazing.
awesome book.
DonBrownBooks.com is where you find them. But again, you mentioned Pete Hegseth. You got to know they're trying to oust him. And so he's obviously the strongest one of the strongest ones in Trump's cabinet, in my opinion. If they're after you, you're over the target.
Yeah, and Donna, I think Pete is the strongest member of the president's cabinet.
yeah.
That includes even the vice president. I've worked with the man. I've seen his heart. I've seen his courage. And there's a reason they're trying so hard to take him down, because he's presidential timber someday.
Yeah.
We don't know when, but he is. I was with him with the Vaughns a couple of years ago. He came as our keynote speaker at Operation 300. I was his escort officer that day, and I said, Pete, I want you to hear me now. Something huge is about to happen to you. And he put his career on the line with Fox to help get Lawrence out. That's the type of man he is. But listen, Pete Hegseth rightly called for the court-martial of Mark Kelly, the senator from Arizona, retired Navy captain. And Mark Kelly should be brought up, back on the active duty, which the UCMJ allows, and prosecuted for sedition, for undermining civilian authority of the military. And when Pete mentioned that, that's when the liberals went crazy. First off, they tried this two-shot, two-tap theory. The Washington Post floated it out there. The New York Times actually shot it down. That was debunked. And even if the second shot had been ordered by Pete, it was lawful under the law of armed conflict and the law of the high seas.
Yeah,
anyway.
the IG said it was lawful. I mean, and the
course
New
it
York
did.
Times is still trying to circumvent it.
Of
How about Milley? I call him thoroughly unmodern Milley. I mean, Milley's huge. This guy is this is low-hanging fruit for our DOJ.
Well, I think that Pete should call up, and I hope you're listening, Pete. I know he loves you, Don and Don, but you should call Mark Kelly back to active duty. You should call General Milley back to active duty and let them feel the full brunt of the military justice system for the seditionary acts that they've been involved in. And you should do it sooner rather than later. I mean, look at Milley. I mean, he's calling one of our largest geopolitical adversaries, the Communist Chinese, saying he's going to disobey an order from the President of the United States. It's treasonable.
Yeah, that was the first time around. That was Trump #1's term. And he still was untouched. It's amazing to me. I think Don had a question.
Yeah, listen, I just want to talk to the people in North Carolina very quickly here. You can either vote for somebody that has been a loser, and the RNC is a loser, period.
Yep.
Whatley was running it. Or you can vote for a winner. You can send a winner to D.C. that is not going to get sucked into the cancer of D.C. Don Brown's a winner. Don Brown's a friend. We trust Don Brown.
Yep.
I wouldn't take a leak on Whatley if he was rolling around on asphalt in the middle of the summer on fire.
Man, he has just been out of control this show. Totally out of control.
Whatley failed the American people. It's that simple.
Hey, the ballots are still there from 2024. I don't see the RNC calling for them to be audited because they don't want anything audited anymore. That's the whole point. Because they cheat just as much as the other side cheats, because it gets to the point where a lot of Republicans and Democrats are afraid to look at the actual votes because maybe they weren't elected. That's really the bottom line. I mean, in New Jersey, my home state, 500,000 more votes against Citarelli this last time when 500,000 people haven't even moved into the state in the last 4 years,
moved
let alone
out.
vote. It's the #1 state they're moving out of. All right, Don Brown, FORNC, folks, again endorsed by General Flynn, Sidney Powell, General
Alan
Flynn
West.
twice, Alan West, and of course, Cowboy Logic.
We love you, brother. We trust you. We believe in you. And we know you are the choice to fill that Senate seat in North Carolina. Anything else, North Carolina, you've made a mistake. You have one choice, one right choice, and you're looking at that man right now. Put Don Brown in the Senate, in the U.S. Senate. Ladies and gentlemen, we love that man. We hope you're going to spread the word there in North Carolina. Let's get Don Brown to Washington. We'll be right back.